well, my heart is really sort of coming out of my chest here. I want to just want to testify and thank Lisa and Paul for giving me the chance to express my deep love for Jerry. We met about 35 years ago. I was working on Ray Charles' autobiography in LA, and Ray told me, call Ahmed and Nestle and Jerry, because I can't recall anything. And I called Ahmed a whole lot of times, never called me back. Called Nestle a lot of times, never called me back. Called Jerry, he answers on the very first ring. And his question is, do you have an advance? And I tell him, yeah, and he says, is it enough to live on? And I said, well, I'm not sure. And he says, if you need any help, just let me know, and I'll be out in LA next week, and we'll spend a couple of days together. And I think a couple of days, and the next thing I know, I'm in the car and I'm going over to one of those bungalows at the Beverly Hills Hotel where the music moguls play, and he is ripping and riffing and joking and smoking, and I'm as high as I can be on this joint called Jerry Wexler, and he's brilliant and a ferocious wit and a super funky storyteller, and I'm in heaven, and we become really good pals, and every time I do a book he encourages me and gives me a blurb. And now it's the 80s, and I got a problem because Marvin Gaye and I have written Sexual Healing together, and Marvin won't give me no bread. And I call Rabbi Wexler and I say, you know, I love Marvin. He's the Michelangelo of R&B. He's my pal. He's my mentor. He's my idol. What should I do? And without hesitancy, Jerry screams across the country, sue the motherfucker. Next thing I know, my kids get to go to college, and it's the 90s. And Jerry calls me to do his autobiography. And I tell him, Jerry, I'm not sure I can do that book, man, because we're very close pals, and you do an autobiography with a guy, and there's all sorts of shit that can come up, and there's, you know, the bread, how are we going to divide the advance? And he tells me, I'll give you the whole advance, and I tell him, well, then I will do the book. And I was so proud of Jerry in doing that book, because every time we got into kind of a difficult area, like Shirley, who was Jerry's first wife, the one he calls his real wife, and the wonderful mother of Anita and Lisa and Jerry. Jerry would just tell me, go talk to her, whatever her point of view is, just put it in the book. And when we started talking about Lieber and Stoller, with whom Jerry had kind of a falling out, Jerry would tell me, just talk to Mike and Jerry, whatever they tell you, just put in the book. So to me, one of the sort of high marks of integrity was Jerry's ability to have counter voices to his own in his own autobiography. Now, in the very last year of Jerry's life, my dear friend Harry Weinger and I went down to Sarasota to visit him, and he was still full of piss and vinegar. He was still the Lion in Winter, kind of roaring these great stories, and we just had a really beautiful time. But then the deterioration came pretty quickly, and I was here in New York working with Paul Schaefer on his book, and I was encouraging people to call Jerry, because at the end, Jerry's telephone calls were what were really keeping him alive. And I said to Paul, you know, you and Jerry really love each other, and give him a call, because this, you know, could be it. And Paul called him, and Jerry put him on the speakerphone, and Paul was having a hard time hearing him. And Paul said to Jerry, what line do you have me on? And Jerry said, Paul, I'm on the going down slow line. And when Paul told me that story, I thought to myself, Jerry Wexler, hip to the motherfucking end. And he was sweet and sour. He was street. He was scholarly. He was a loyal friend. He was a lover of life, but mainly he was music. Rootsy, righteous music of the soul, whose divine spirit has us shouting out today, we love you, Jerry Wexler. We love you. Good God Almighty, we just love you.